So, Alex, we're not out of the woods yet in terms of patch analysis. Silent Hill 2, you put out a pretty epic video on that for the
Thank
PC
you.
version, which certainly caught a lot of attention. And clearly, there were some fundamental issues with that and with implications for Unreal Engine 5 games more generally. There is a patch now for Silent Hill 2. I'm curious what has changed. And I'm also curious if you've got kind of like, what can I say? Uh, Maybe off the record or certain
Hmm.
reactions to your original content that might be
Yes,
slightly more illuminating.
indeed. So I got to say, the patch looked at fixing a couple of things, but the one that was relevant for my video was the uh, gratuitous hitching, frame time hitches all throughout the game experience. And for a game that is atmospheric and slow paced, like Silent Hill 2 is, I really think it's a massive detriment to the atmosphere of the game, kind of like how Dead Space is a
Yeah.
slow paced atmospheric game, and that really ruins it. Felt the same here. Now, they mention in the patch notes that it's supposed to fix hitching issues
Right.
due to
Okay.
sky generation, which is, I've honestly never heard of that for Unreal. So I'm not exactly sure what exactly it describes, but I did do tests, and I did them at 4K Ultra DLSS performance just because I have like for that on the Ryzen 7 7800 X3D, all running down from the hilltop into the town. And I've got like 3 separate videos here that I sent to Oliver. And what you will notice, for example, in the first video, right, like when you get out of the car and you're going down the hill there are a number of frame time spikes there. And this video I've sent to Oliver only has like frame time spikes on it. I cut everything out of it. It's just supposed to show the frame time spike because that's the important thing. And it's basically showing that there are a number of them that are eliminated completely, and that is very good. But you'll also notice that if you watch that footage a couple times, well, not all of them are gone, because specific ones are gone, but not all of them. And the other videos I sent to Oliver as well, for example, like when I run with James here through this like gate area, you'll see that a number of them still line up there. In fact, they're almost all there. So, and this other video running down the little highway in town, crossing like in front of this house here, and a bunch of like these traffic cones along the way there, you'll also see that a couple of them are gone and a number of them remain. And when I did my original video, I did show that all of them were always lining up 1-to-1. The issue wasn't apparently shader compilation, where you'd imagine in one run after the first time you played the game that they would disappear. They were always in the exact same place, literally right on the dot, always, every single one, because they were just happening when you'd move through the world for some reason. And here it cleaned up, I mean, just like a rough from my butt number, it cleaned up like maybe 40% of the ones that you encounter going from the hilltop to the town. But the largest ones are actually still there. And those definitely have to do with what you imagine is typical Unreal Engine traversal stutter, where actors are actualized after loading, which is usually the cause. It's not the like moving of data itself, it's the actualization of actors, instantiating them after they've already been put into memory and make them gameplay code ready. And then it causes a massive CPU frame time spike, which is not good. And it's still technically all throughout the experience as a result there. So they cleaned up some of it, but vast majority of it still remains. And I still think the game needs some serious patching.
Okay. My one question about that is when you were doing your delta time
Yes.
analysis and your fixes, did that fix all of them?
No.
Right.
Well, it can't fix any of the frame time spikes that would be occurring above, like 33.3 milliseconds, which even a 7800 X3D would show. There's multiple
Okay.
points when you run through the town where it could go up to like 60, 75 milliseconds on a 7800 X3D, and something like Ryzen 5 3600 territory, it's like near 100 milliseconds or
But you
even.
had like a before and after for that specific scene
Right.
of James, right, where it was essentially cleaned up.
Yes.
Are we now at some sort of midway point, or is it still that the fundamental issue hasn't been addressed?
The fundamental issue of delta time not being correct is not fixed. as a result of this. Technically, any frame time spike that occurs even below 33 milliseconds will still cause an animation hiccup. And there are a number of reasons for that. This is kind of like my behind the scenes things that I've heard. I've talked with, now this is not directly from Epic people, but these are people from that work with Epic and Unreal Engine, like extremely low level. And yes, Unreal Engine at its core does have issues with calculating delta time. It is not necessarily a great variable frame rate engine, actually, at the end of the day. And depending upon when things are updated or actualized within a frame, so from like beginning of 0 millisecond to 33 millisecond, let's say, like depending upon during that time when things are updated, like animation state, for example, for actors or camera, it will show off the issue more egregiously or not. So that's why we see a slight game dependent difference there. But the delta time stuff is actually not right in the first place in the engine. It's just certain games will show it off more readily than others. Okay. And there have been proposed fixes on the GitHub for this, actually. And we'll see maybe now if they change in the future.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but that's your update. That's everything we now know about Silent Hill 2, where it is now and where it's heading.
Yeah, in this case, it does make me sad because, like John has said on Twitter, and I agree with him. And when I was playing the game, I was just I really liked what I was seeing in terms of voice acting, visuals, perhaps the best usage of Lumen I've seen in a shipping game, and minus the issues it has. It's really good, but not getting performance stable, I think, is a big issue. And I hope Bloober keep pushing to make it better.